Welcome to a space of quiet, where words dissolve into silence. In this talk, we explore the power that lives in stillness, the calm that is not absence of movement, but presence without disturbance. Sit softly, breathe slowly. This is the power of stillness. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness. A lake may appear calm on the surface, but underneath, unseen currents flow. The same is true for you. You may move, you may speak, you may act, yet deep within, a silence can remain untouched. The world celebrates motion. We are told to go faster, to achieve more, to keep moving forward. But the faster you move, the further you drift from yourself. The noise of doing drowns out the quiet voice of being. Stillness is the way back home. When you stop running, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel life again, the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your breath, the beating of your heart. All that was ignored becomes sacred again. In stillness, the ordinary reveals its hidden magic. The restless mind fears stillness. It calls it boredom. It calls it laziness. It calls it waste. Because in stillness, the mind begins to disappear. Without constant motion, the ego loses its importance. And so it resists, whispering, do something, be someone, prove yourself. But awareness doesn't need proof. It simply is. To be still is not to stop acting, it is to act from a deeper place. When you move from stillness, your actions are precise, effortless, graceful. They arise like waves from a vast ocean of peace. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer hurry, you flow. In silence, truth speaks. The great teachers, the mystics, the poets, they all discovered something eternal in the space between thoughts. That space is not empty. It is full of presence, full of intelligence, full of love. You don't have to create it, you only have to notice it. Sit quietly and listen. Can you hear the hum of existence beneath the noise? Can you feel the stillness beneath every sound? Even in chaos, there is a silent background. That background is you. You are not the movement, you are the space in which movement happens. You are not the thought, you are the awareness that observes the thought. Once you taste this, life changes forever. Noise no longer controls you. Silence becomes your foundation. A person who knows stillness carries peace wherever they go. In the marketplace or the mountains, they remain centered. Because peace is not found in the world, it is brought to the world by those who are still. Think of a candle flame in a quiet room. When the air is still, the flame burns clear and bright. But when the wind of thoughts blows, it flickers and struggles. Be the room, not the wind. Let your presence protect your inner flame. Stillness is not withdrawal from life. It is intimacy with life. When you are still, you can feel every heartbeat of existence. You notice the scent of the earth after rain, the quiet pause before words, the beauty of eyes that simply look without wanting. You begin to live fully because you have stopped escaping. People think meditation is about sitting silently for hours. That is only one form. Real meditation is to be still inside, even while walking, talking, working. You can wash dishes and still be meditative if your mind is quiet. You can drive a car and still be in silence if awareness is present. Meditation is not a posture. It is a state of being. When stillness deepens, time disappears. You stop living in tomorrow or yesterday. You realize there is only now, and now is eternal. The present moment is the doorway to the infinite. In stillness, you see the mind clearly. You see how it creates problems just to feel alive. You see how it invents fears to stay in control. You see how it never rests, always seeking, always avoiding. And in that seeing, the game ends. You no longer fight the mind. You simply watch it. Awareness itself is the silence that transforms noise into wisdom. There is a stillness that is not learned, it is remembered. Every child knows it. Before the mind was filled with ideas, you were that stillness. You looked at the world with wonder, not with judgment. That innocence was not lost. It was only covered by noise. Now you can return, not by going backward, but by becoming conscious again. Stillness does not demand that you renounce the world. It invites you to see it clearly. You can live in the city, raise a family, work in the world, and yet remain rooted in silence. The secret is to act without losing the center. When you do, the world becomes your meditation hall. The stillness is not dull, it is alive, vibrant, awake. It has its own rhythm, slow, graceful, powerful. Like the calm before dawn, it holds infinite potential. From this quiet center, all creativity is born. Art, music, love, they all rise from stillness. The greatest minds and the deepest hearts have always known this. Einstein found his answers in silence. Buddha found enlightenment under a silent tree. You will find yourself in the same silence. When you stop searching, you find. When you stop speaking, you hear. When you stop running, you arrive. Stillness is not a goal, it is your nature. You don't have to earn it. You just have to stop covering it with noise. Stillness deepens not by effort, but by understanding. You cannot make yourself still, just as you cannot force the ocean to be calm. The ocean becomes calm when the winds settle. Your inner world becomes still when the storm of thoughts slows down by itself through awareness, not through control. Awareness is the secret. It is not something you do, it is what you are. You don't have to find it, you have to stop running from it. When you stop trying to fix silence, silence begins to fix you. Stillness is not about changing the outer world. It is about remembering your inner nature. The world will always move. The noise will never end. But when you awaken, you see that the noise happens within the space of silence, and that space is infinite. Once you realize this, even chaos becomes sacred. The mind wants to measure progress. How still am I today? But stillness cannot be measured. It can only be felt. When you stop seeking results from silence, you start living it. That's when the subtle shifts happen. Tension melts, the breath deepens, the eyes soften. A gentleness rises within you. You begin to see that stillness is not static. It is alive. It breathes with existence itself. It is movement without friction, sound without noise, love without demand. It is not the opposite of life. It is the heart of life. Watch how the trees stand in silence, yet they grow, they flower, they dance in the wind. Their stillness is not immobility. It is harmony. They are rooted and alive. That's what true stillness means, to live from your roots. You have roots too deep within your being. Those roots are awareness. When you live connected to them, the storms of life cannot uproot you. They may bend you, they may shake you, but they cannot break you. When you are anchored in stillness, you see the world differently. You stop judging. You start observing. You no longer divide life into good or bad, success or failure. You see everything as movement within one vast dance. And because you no longer resist, suffering disappears. Resistance is the enemy of stillness. When you resist, you create tension between what is and what you think should be. In that tension, peace dies. Acceptance restores it. To accept is not to surrender in defeat, it is to align with truth. It is to say, yes, this too belongs to the dance of life. In that yes, magic happens. You stop fighting and start flowing. You realize that the current of existence was always carrying you. You were just splashing too much to notice. Silence does not mean you stop talking. It means your words arise from the right place. When you speak from stillness, your words heal. When you act from stillness, your actions carry peace. Stillness gives fragrance to everything you do. The world will tell you that you must shout to be heard. But the truth is, silence speaks louder than any noise. A calm presence can change a room more than 1,000 words. A single look from awareness can touch hearts without saying a thing. Stillness is not withdrawal. It is the ultimate involvement. When you are still, you are fully present with life. You listen deeply. You taste completely. You love totally. Because there is nothing left in you that is elsewhere. The restless mind keeps asking, what should I do to be still? The answer is nothing. Stop trying. Trying is movement. Silence is recognition, not achievement. When you stop running, you realize you were home all along. Think of the sky again. Clouds come and go. Storms rise and fall. But the sky never moves. Be the sky, not the weather. Let everything pass through you untouched. In deep stillness, even time begins to fade. Moments stretch, days slow down, and you begin to live eternally in the now. This is the true meaning of timelessness. The mind divides life into past and future. Stillness unites them in the present. And in that unity, fear disappears. Because fear lives only in time, the fear of what might happen or the regret of what has happened. In stillness, there is no tomorrow or yesterday, only this breath, this presence, this peace. The power of stillness is healing. It heals the wounds you didn't know you had. It brings light to corners of your heart long forgotten. It doesn't require therapy, it doesn't require belief, it only requires attention. When awareness touches pain, pain transforms. When silence meets fear, fear melts. When presence meets loneliness, loneliness turns into solitude. You begin to love your own company. You stop escaping yourself. You realize you were never alone. Existence was always here, waiting for you to notice. And in that noticing, the longing to be elsewhere ends. You become whole, and from that wholeness, love begins to overflow. You love not because someone deserves it, but because love has become your natural fragrance. You don't choose to love, you are love. In stillness, there is no self to defend, no image to protect. The ego cannot survive here because ego is noise. When the noise fades, what remains is pure awareness, open, innocent, luminous. That awareness is divine. Religion has given it many names: God, Tao, truth. But it is the same silence, the same stillness, living through everything. You don't have to believe it, you only have to feel it. The moment you stop naming it, it reveals itself. True stillness is not created, it is uncovered. It was there before the first thought and will remain after the last one. It is your original nature, simple, vast, unbroken. When you recognize this, life stops being a problem to solve and becomes a mystery to live. You no longer chase meaning, you embody it. You no longer search for purpose. You express it effortlessly through every breath. Be still. Let awareness do the work. Let silence teach you. Let the heart rest. When you have tasted stillness, even for a moment, something within you changes forever. You realize that the world can no longer disturb what it did not create. You realize that peace is not fragile, it is your nature. You stop looking for silence outside because you have discovered it within. Life will continue, people will come and go, joy and sorrow will visit, success and failure will alternate, but you remain the same. You become the witness, not the participant in the endless drama of becoming. The world remains, but its weight disappears. When you are rooted in stillness, nothing can truly hurt you, because you no longer define yourself by the temporary. You have seen the eternal. You have glimpsed the formless behind the form. That glimpse is enough to change everything. Before stillness, you lived like a leaf in the wind, always blown by events, emotions, and opinions. After stillness, you live like the tree itself, flexible but grounded, silent but alive. You still feel everything, but you are not trapped by anything. Stillness gives birth to wisdom. It shows you that everything comes and goes, but awareness remains. And that awareness does not belong to you, it is you. You are not inside the world. The world is inside your consciousness. When you know this, the search ends. In the depth of silence, you begin to see that even your identity, your name, your story, your history are passing clouds. They have meaning in the play of time, but they are not who you are. The one who knows them, the one who watches them, that one is free. Freedom is not in having what you want, it is in not being disturbed by what you don't have. Stillness reveals this truth, because in stillness, you discover that joy was never the result of something, it was your nature before everything. You do not become peaceful, you stop being noisy. You do not gain stillness, you stop losing it. It was never absent, you were simply too distracted to notice. Stillness gives you the ability to hold opposites together. You can feel pain without despair, you can act in the world without losing peace. You can cry deeply and yet remain untouched within. This is not detachment, this is maturity. This is the flowering of awareness. When you meet someone who has known stillness, you feel it instantly. They do not need to teach. Their presence teaches. Their silence speaks more than 1,000 sermons. You feel safe. You feel open. You feel seen because their silence mirrors your own. In their eyes, you see yourself without distortion, pure, complete, infinite. This is the greatest gift one being can give another, the reminder of who you truly are. The power of stillness is subtle but immense. It moves mountains without shouting. It changes lives without preaching. It heals without trying, because stillness is the natural state of truth. When you act from stillness, your life becomes aligned with the flow of existence. You no longer push the river, you move with it. Your path unfolds effortlessly because you have stopped interfering. And whatever comes, you meet it with the same serenity, knowing that what must come will come and what must go will go. This surrender is not defeat, it is participation with the totality. It is dancing with the cosmos instead of fighting it. It is saying yes to life with your whole being. And in that yes, you disappear, only existence remains. People often fear stillness because they think it will take away their drive, their passion, their individuality. But the opposite happens. Stillness refines everything. Your passion becomes purpose. Your energy becomes intelligence. Your individuality becomes expression, not ego. Stillness doesn't erase you, it reveals your truest form. In the quiet, creativity blossoms naturally. Because creativity is the expression of stillness in motion. All art, all poetry, all music is born in silence. Before a word is spoken, there is silence. Before a brush touches the canvas, there is stillness. Before love is expressed, there is presence. Stillness is the mother of all creation. When the mind becomes still, the heart opens. When the heart opens, compassion flows. And when compassion flows, you realize that everything, every person, every event is part of the same great heartbeat of existence. You stop separating me and them, mine and yours. In stillness, unity becomes more than a concept, it becomes experience. True spirituality is not about reaching heaven, it is about being fully present on earth. To be still is to be divine in the most human way. It is to walk, talk, breathe, and love from a place of peace. It is to live without the constant background noise of fear and desire. Stillness is not a goal. It is not something you chase. It is something you uncover when the chase ends. And once you taste it, you realize you were never separate from it. It was always waiting behind your heartbeat, behind your breath, behind your thoughts. Sit quietly now. Do not try to silence the mind, just notice that you are not the mind. Notice the awareness watching. That watcher is infinite. That watcher is free. That watcher is peace itself. Thank you for sitting in silence with me. Remember, stillness is not something you create. It is what remains when you stop trying. Stay with the peace you found here. Subscribe for more talks on awareness, silence, and freedom.